Spain versus France, a semifinal that nobody really needed to sell. Because when the draw was made and people started talking about who could go deep in this World Cup, this was the fixture everyone circled as the potential final. Not the semifinal, the final. But football has its own timeline, and instead of meeting at the very last hurdle, these two sides are going to settle this one match early. One of them walks away with a final place. The other goes home. No consolation, no second chance. Just pure football pressure at its most brutal. Before we get into what Spain showed against Belgium, let us go back to the last time these two nations shared a pitch. Adrien Rabiot opened his mouth and essentially handed Lamine Yamal a challenge on a silver plate. He said the teenager needed to step up in the big moments. He said the kid had to score in matches that mattered. So what did Yamal do? He went and put the ball in the net, walked past Rabiot, and let the goal do the talking. There is history here, there is needle here, and when you have Kylian Mbappé on one side and Lamine Yamal on the other, you do not need any more reasons to be excited. But the extra context makes this thing electric. Now, about the Belgium game. Spain got through 2-1. They are in the last four. But if you are being honest with yourself, you would not call that performance convincing in the traditional sense. The goals came from moments rather than from sustained dominance. The first one arrived because Castells spilled the ball and Fabian Ruiz was sharp enough to punish it. The second one, late in the game, came off a fumble from the Belgium backup keeper Sainz Lems, and Mikel Merino did what Mikel Merino does. He was in the right place and he finished it. So 2 goals from 2 goalkeeping errors. Belgium were not ripped apart. Spain did not open them up with 15 passes and a killer through ball. It was scrappy, it was tight, and for long stretches it was uncomfortable viewing. But here is where I think people are slightly missing the point when they say Spain looked unconvincing. Think about what Spain actually did in that match. They took a Belgium side that had been building some momentum, that had overloaded down the right flank well to score their goal, and they completely shut that down for the rest of the game. Belgium kept trying to recreate those same overload scenarios on that right channel. Spain read it, covered it, and refused Kevin them a second look at goal. That is not an accident. That is a well-organized defensive unit doing its job to the letter. And this has been a pattern in this World Cup. Against Portugal, Spain were patient. They waited. They managed the game. They got their moment in added time. Against Belgium, same script, different chapter. The man at the heart of all of this is Rodri. If you looked at the touch map from this game, Rodri had the most touches on the pitch. He covered ground in all directions. 2 ground duels won, 2 recoveries, 2 clearances, and that is before you even count the passing volume. This is the Rodri we saw at the Euros. This is the Rodri we saw when he was at his absolute peak with Manchester City. He has been quietly elite throughout this tournament, and the conversation around him does not feel proportional to what he is actually doing on the pitch every single week. The decision to leave Pedri out from the start raised eyebrows, but Fabian Ruiz justified that call immediately by scoring. The thing with Fabian versus Pedri is that they offer very different things. Pedri is your deep line playmaker. He operates in those second lines. He unlocks spaces. He connects the midfield to the attack with short, crisp combinations. Fabian is more box to box. He covers more ground physically. He arrives in dangerous areas. And today, that box arrival turned into a goal. Pedri came on in the second half, and the tempo did shift towards Spain. They looked more in control. But there were a couple of sloppy moments from him that you just cannot afford against a France side that will press and press and press. Against France, Pedri has to be absolutely at his sharpest. Not average Pedri. Best Pedri. Now Dani Olmo. I want to spend a moment here because his performance was one of the best individual displays I have seen from him. One wrong pass in the entire game. Just one. He completed 3 of 3 dribbles in tight situations. He won 4 of 5 duels. And perhaps most underrated was his defensive contribution in the opening 45 minutes, where he dropped into a deeper role to help Rodri and Ruiz build out of Belgium's high press. He read the pressing triggers, he found angles, he kept Spain ticking in moments when Belgium were trying to force errors. And that defensive tackle he made on a Belgium counterattack, stretching his leg out at full extension to nick the ball back, that was a midfield masterclass. Pedro Porro had 101 touches as a right back. 101. That number tells you everything about how central he is to the way Luis de la Fuente wants Spain to play. He supports Lamine Yamal constantly, he provides the overlapping run, and he gives Spain an extra option down that right flank that opponents really struggle to account for. Speaking of Yamal, he is 18 years old, 18, and he is already the most threatening player in that Spain squad. Every time he gets the ball in wide positions, the entire defensive shape of the opposition shifts. He delivered crosses, he drove into the box, he cut inside. The only thing missing was a goal or an assist, but the influence was there. The danger was there. He needs to turn that influence into output against France because France are not a team that you can afford to be wasteful against. Ferran Torres came on at around the 55-minute mark and looked genuinely sharp. His link-up play, his hold-up work, his awareness when releasing the ball quickly, it was all there. He was tidy and direct and exactly what Spain needed off the bench to push Belgium back. And then there is Mikel Merino, a guy that many people questioned when the squad was named. He missed virtually the entire season at Arsenal through injury. People asked why he was even there. But two knockout games in, Portugal, Belgium, 2 goals, both decisive. He is the definition of a big game player, and you cannot coach that mentality. It lives in certain players, and it absolutely lives in Mikel Merino. There is one question hanging over Spain heading into the France game, and it is about the goalkeeper situation. Unai Simon conceded 1 goal today, and there were moments where he looked uncertain. He is not a bad goalkeeper, but David Raya is arguably the best goalkeeper in the world right now, and Joan Garcia has also looked excellent when given the opportunity. Against France, you are going to face Mbappé running at you with pace, Dembele cutting inside, Barcola stretching the line, Olise spinning in 1 versus 1 situations. Those players will test whoever is in goal. That position deserves the very best option available. The concern for Spain against France is recovery pace. Their backline is technically excellent, but France's front line is built on raw speed. Mbappe goes in behind. Barcola goes in behind, and Spain's center backs, while disciplined and brave, are not the quickest when they have to turn and chase. The midfield will also face physicality from Tchouaméni and Camavinga that is very different from what they faced today. So the tactical challenge for De La Fuente is enormous. But here's what I keep coming back to. This Spain team finds a way. They have not blown anyone away with 20 shots and 5 goals, but they have not lost either. They manage games, they absorb pressure, and then in a moment of quality or in a moment of the opposition making an error, they take their chance and they do not waste it. That is not lucky football. That is mature football. Belgium go home with their golden generation finally reaching its curtain call. De Bruyne, Lukaku, Courtois, probably all done at this level internationally. It is bittersweet, but the time has come. Spain move forward, France await, and honestly, I cannot wait.